The story opens with a quiet atmosphere in a small cabin in the American West. Where in the cabin, there's a man named Emmett who is sleeping alone. Suddenly, brack! The door was forced open, and a gunman immediately shot him at close range. But this Emmett was not just anybody. With quick reflexes, he woke up and immediately grabbed a gun and shot back, killing his attacker. Not yet relieved, he saw another person walking outside the cabin. So without hesitation, he shot him too. Suddenly, door. A shotgun blast came from the roof. Unfortunately, the bullets in Emmett's gun have run out. But he didn't run out of ideas. Emmett immediately threw his empty gun at the stove to trick the enemy on the roof. When his enemy was caught off guard, he hurriedly grabbed a Winchester rifle and door. With one shot, the shooter on the roof fell into the cabin. Once everyone was safe, Emmett came out of the cabin to check on the bodies of his attackers. He also saw their horses, and one of them had a stamp he recognized. Emmett left the place with one of their horses to wander. On the way, Emmett came across a man lying limp on the ground, wearing nothing but a pair of long underwear. What a pity. Emmett, who believes that kindness will bring good things, immediately helped him, gave him water, and even invited him to go together.
Pleased to meet you.
In the evening, they rested and built a fire. The man identified himself as Payton. He told me that he had joined a group of guys, but they turned out to be robbers. All his belongings, including his horse, were stolen. They then arrive at a military post where Emmett gives Payton money to buy new clothes. When Payton sees his stolen horse and the thief, he sneaks into a general store to buy a gun. He asks the shopkeeper for credit, but is refused, so the shopkeeper reluctantly gives him an old pistol with a loose
This
cylinder.
one's $20.
All right, what can I get for that?
Payton took the gun to the town square. The thief spotted him and opened fire, but Payton calmly took aim and shot the thief. As he hugged his horse, an army sergeant questioned him. Payton told him to check the name under the saddle. When asked who he was, a bystander named Cobb spelled Payton's name. The lieutenant checked the saddle, confirmed Payton's ownership, and asked the crowd to disperse, while advising Payton
Claims the
to wear
animal was
proper
stolen.
clothing.
How do I know this is your horse?
Cobb gives Payton money to buy clothes, including an oddly shaped hat. Payton thanks him, and Cobb invites him to join a new venture out west, but Payton declines and chooses to observe instead. Cobb then meets with Turley, a rough and suspicious man recently released from chains. As they leave, Turley asks about a dog, adding dark overtones to their conversation.
Hey, look who's here, Tyree. Our old riding buddy.
I invited Payton to join us. He's not having any. Where's the dog?
You owe me $13.
Emmett plans to go to a place called Turley to see his brother, Jake, before heading to Silverado, where their sister and her family are waiting. Emmett and Jake look forward to family time before continuing on to California. Payton, intrigued by the saloon in Silverado, decides to come with them. Upon arrival, an old man named Hobart mistook them for Baxter and Holly and scolded them. Hobart leads a group of farmers to settle in Silverado. Payton and Emmett feel anxious when the real Baxter and Holly make suspicious transactions with Hobart.
We trust you.
Don't you even want to count it?
Not at all, friend.
While eating at the hotel restaurant, they see a large black man named Malcolm Alabama Johnson come in and ask for a room and whiskey. The hotel clerk hesitates, but gives the whiskey. However, the hotel manager immediately told Malcolm to leave and refused to serve him because of his race. 3 men try to drive Malcolm away, but he quickly overpowered them causing
What's all this then?
Sheriff John Langston arrives and breaks up the fight. Although Emmett and Payton are ready to defend Malcolm, Langston, knowing the injustice of the hotel manager, tells Malcolm to leave town without paying for the damage done. Malcolm gathered his things and took the one bottle of whiskey that was still intact as he left. Langston then speaks to Emmett and Payton, explaining that although he is from England, the citizens of Turley accept him because he keeps order. He asks why they have come to town, and Emmett replies that they want to meet his brother, Jake. Langston recognizes Jake as a man who is in jail for shooting someone. Emmett learns that Jake shot in self-defense over a romantic misunderstanding, but Langston, following the strict laws of the Old West, has scheduled Jake's hanging for the following morning at 10 o'clock. Although Emmett initially tells Jake that he cannot help him, outside the sheriff's office, he reveals his plan to free Jake to Payton. Payton refuses to participate in the rescue, and they head to the saloon for a drink. Inside, Payton saw the thief who took his hat and possibly his Colt revolver. The thief tries to pull out his gun, but Payton is faster and shoots him dead. After the fight, Langston arrested Payton and put him in a cell with Jake. The next day, a young boy distracts Langston by telling him that the gallows is on fire. Meanwhile, Jake uncuffed their cell using his belt buckle. When the deputy checks the cell, he finds only Payton, who then handcuffs the deputy to the cell bars.
Where is he?
He left.
Give me your hands.
The deputy realized what was happening, but Payton quickly immobilized him. Jake was apparently hiding behind Payton the whole time. They grab their gear and wait outside the sheriff's office until Emmett arrives with his horses, sparking a shootout with some of the townspeople and the newly returned Langston. Malcolm helped them escape by using his shotgun to block Langston's deputy from shooting Jake.
Today, my jurisdiction ends here.
Seeing the danger, Langston breaks off the chase. Malcolm joins Jake, Emmett, and Payton on their way to Silverado. The group then finds Hobart's party abandoned in the brush, lied to and abandoned by Baxter and Holly, who stole their money. They leave Jake to help the settlers, while Payton, Malcolm, and Emmett pursue the criminals. They find a hiding place in a canyon where Baxter, Holly, and the gang are hiding. Emmett, who pretends to be in a hurry, enters the canyon with Payton, who is lying on a horse, pretending to be dead. He tells Dawson, the gang leader, that they're being chased by a group of police after robbing the bank in Turley. Dawson, angry at being chased by the police, is about to kill Emmett when shots suddenly come from above. Malcolm and a settler In the chaos, Emmett released Dawson's horses, while Payton pulled the iron box and dragged it with his horse, with Malcolm and the settler covering them. The trio managed to escape while laughing at their success. However, settlers who did not believe in them demanded the iron box, but were killed. After returning fire and killing the attacker, they meet up with Jake, who leads the settlers towards Silverado. That night around the campfire, their friendship grows. Payton mentions his attraction to Hannah, the widow of the dead settler, while Malcolm tells of his difficult time working in a Chicago slaughterhouse and his hope to reunite with his family at the Silverado farm. After the settlers arrive safely, the group rides towards Silverado, each with their own goals. Payton heads to the local saloon and meets Stella, the manager and former dancer known as the Midnight Star of Virginia. They hit it off immediately and become friends. Their moment is interrupted when Cobb, now a sheriff, arrives and affectionately calls Silverado heaven. Meanwhile, Malcolm arrives at his family's farm to find it overrun by cattle, his father Ezra hiding in a cave, having been driven away by McKendrick's men. Ezra recounts his wife's death and how his sister is facing a difficult situation in the city. With determination, Malcolm promises to restore their lives. At their sister's house, Jake and Emmett are reunited with their family. Their brother-in-law, a land claims agent, warns them of the corruption going on under Cobb's control, but Jake and Emmett still plan to go to California the next day. Malcolm's father goes to the river for water and encounters two men from McKendrick, who steal his Henry rifle
That's too
and
bad.
shoot him dead. Malcolm, asleep in his cave, is awakened by gunshots and finds his father dead and the rifle missing. At the saloon, Cobb confronts Payton by accusing Stella's partner Kelly of stealing money. Cobb fires Kelly and offers her a job as head of security for a fee. When Kelly tries to shoot Cobb, Cobb kills him.
How about it, Payton? You want the job? Maybe we ought to ask Stella.
You'd be welcome. No, Kelly, he'll kill you!
Payton, who begins to doubt Cobb's relationship, watches the crowd that is gathered around Kelly's body. Amid the commotion, a well-dressed gambler named Slick arrives looking for fair play. Cobb sends him to Payton for arrangements. Meanwhile, Malcolm recounts their father's death to his sister Ray, who is indifferent and unhappy to see him. Malcolm pleads with Ray to leave the world of prostitution, but she refuses. Elsewhere, the settlers aided by Jake and Emmett are having a picnic when an attack comes from McKendrick's men who kill cattle, burn houses, and shoot settlers. In the chaos, Jake and Emmett fight back and kill some of the attackers, and Emmett manages to snatch Henry's rifle from one of them. Back at the saloon, Stella and Payton make small talk about how Stella diluted the liquor because the original flavor was too strong. Their conversation is interrupted when Jake and Cobb's follower, Terry, make a scene. Terry is angry that Jake kissed his woman, Phoebe. Payton intervenes, taking Terry's gun and telling Jake to leave to avoid further trouble, given Jake's previous arrest at Turley. After returning the gun to Terry, Terry threatens Payton by pressing the gun to his chin. Stella calms the situation and Terry leaves. In another part of town, Emmett and his nephew Augie are stopped by McKendrick and his men while out riding. Seeing the stamp on the horse Augie is riding, Emmett gives up, realizing they are part of the group that attacked him in his sleep. The encounter was tense as McKendrick wanted revenge for Emmett shooting his father, who had previously targeted Jake. After the tension, McKendrick backs off, leaving an implied threat. At the saloon, Cobb recounts his past with Payton. They were once members of a gang of robbers with Terry and other friends. They had a dog as a mascot that caused trouble. After one of the robberies, the dog knocked Terry's horse over, so Terry shot the dog. Payton showed compassion by stopping to help the dog, which led to his arrest by the police and imprisonment. After sharing the story, Cobb gives Payton his first earnings from the saloon and hints that Payton might manage it. However, Payton refused, as she did not want to deprive Stella of her dreams. Cobb expressed concern for the trouble Emmett, Jake, and Malcolm were causing in town and asked Payton to stay out of their affairs. Payton reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, outside of town, Emmett practices shooting with Malcolm's father's rifle and his own pistol. When he runs out of bullets, suddenly several of McKendrick's men, including Terry, attack him with lassos.
Ain't you dead yet, mister?
He's practicing so hard for a fight, he missed the whole thing.
Mal, who was on the hill, shot one of Terry's men in the arm and killed the
Long,
others,
stranger.
forcing them.
I don't want to kill you, and you don't want to be dead.
Mal told Emmett that he was looking for him and the rifle. Despite being badly wounded, Emmett insists on looking for his brother. Mal suggests Emmett rest and offers to look for Jake himself as they are both in danger. Mal talks to his younger brother, Ray, about their father's killers and convinces him to arrange a meeting with Jake through Slick. However, when Mal arrives at the meeting place, it's Cobb waiting for him, who then beats him up and arrests
Where I
him.
can find your friend Emmett. Then we're going to give you a fair trial, followed by a first-class hanging.
When Payton visits Mal in prison, Mal's trust in Payton begins to waver due to her relationship with Cobb. Meanwhile, at Jake and Emmett's sister's house, things turn tense as McKendrick and his men take over. They arrest Jake on his way home, set the house on fire to destroy important land documents, shoot their brother-in-law who tries to resist, knock Jake's wife unconscious, and kidnap Augie who's... Word of the fire quickly spread to the saloon. Payton and Stella head there immediately. Stella mobilizes her men to form an emergency fire brigade, led by Payton. However, the fire was too big to put out. Cobb arrives, lamenting the destruction, and reminds Payton of the risk of getting too involved, warning him that it could endanger Stella. As Stella scolds Payton for not acting amidst the chaos, Ray learns Mal was arrested and secretly retrieves the dagger hidden in Slick's shoe. When the deputy Mal had injured brought Ray to him and tried to search him, Ray stabbed him in the back with the dagger. Mal overpowers the deputy, drives the dagger deeper, and kills him. As Mal searches for the cell key, another deputy appears. Without seeing him clearly, Mal throws the dagger and manages to kill him.
Get in there, guard!
Stella finally realizes why Payton is hesitant to act Cobb, is using her as a means of control. She is saddened to see a world filled with oppressors. Payton respects Stella's strength of heart, but remains afraid of what Cobb could do to her. Shortly after, Phoebe arrives and informs her that Mal has escaped and left Ray unconscious in the warehouse. Mal returns to the cave and tells Emmett about what happened that night, including Augie's abduction. Although wounded, Emmett gets up and is ready to fight. So is Mal, who now carries his rifle and that of his late father. Together with Payton, they head to the McKendrick ranch. There, they triggered a herd panic, sending most of McKendrick's men fleeing. From the roof of the ranch house, Mal provides cover as a sniper, while Emmett sneaks in, rescues Augie, and fights off some police.
Stampede!
Whoa, whoa, boy!
Augie tells Emmett that Jake is said to have fallen off a cliff, but Emmett, who knows Jake's abilities, believes his brother is just pretending to be dead. Inside the barn, Payton fights off the attackers and almost gets shot by a gunman using Jake's gun. However, Jake suddenly swings in with a rope, stopping the man. Together, they defeat the remaining enemies and join Emmett and Augie at home. On the roof, Mal almost gets shot, but manages to kill his attacker thanks to a warning from Payton. The group leaves the ranch and returns to Silverado. At the edge of town, they leave Augie at the cemetery, then prepare to face Cobb's men. Jake walks into the saloon, attracting the attention of Tyree and a deputy. As they start looking around, Jake, who has taken off his shoes to keep quiet, hides under the stage of Stella's bar. As Tyree and the deputy split up, Jake comes out, calls out to them, then shoots them both simultaneously. Hey! Mal rushes to the warehouse, finds a wounded Ray, and sees Slick already there. Slick says Ray needs medical attention, but suddenly tries to kill Mal with a small concealed handgun. Mal is quicker, disarms Slick, then stabs him in the stomach with her dagger.
Looking for
Meanwhile, Emmett rides a horse around town looking for McKendrick. They engage in a fierce duel on horseback. Emmett manages to shoot McKendrick's sniper, but loses his rifle when shot and the gun jams. Emmett was also shot in the leg, dropping his pistol. He then lured McKendrick to the other side of town, climbed onto the platform, and made his horse jump off the platform, crashing into McKendrick's head and knocking him off the horse. At the same time, Payton and Cobb prepare for a typical Wild West duel. Stella watches anxiously. They bid each other farewell before Cobb pulls the trigger first. But Payton is quicker and shoots Cobb dead.
Bye, Cobb.
Payton then slowly and carefully puts the gun back in the holster. Back at the saloon, Payton and Stella finally enjoy a glass of their best drink. Emmett and Jake say goodbye and head to California as planned, confident that their family is now safe. Mal and Ray return to their father's farm. As they all leave, Payton, now wearing his Silverado sheriff's badge, looks ready to marry Hannah, the settler. In a life of challenge and uncertainty, courage, loyalty, and caution are the keys to survival. Always provide protection for yourself. Trust only the truly loyal, and don't be afraid to act quickly when circumstances demand. But most importantly, never lose hope in humanity in the face of evil and betrayal. For beyond the harshness of the world, true friendship and love will be the light that leads us to peace and happiness.